So today is the day that you get to find out how much, or is it worth overclocking, or no, actually, let's make more sense of this. Today it's about the B350 by MSI. This is the Pro Carbon motherboard, and you got the X370, which I've already done a review on, and also the Z270i and the Z270 as well, all by MSI Pro Carbon. This is the sort of the last version, unless they make an MSI version, which is going to be an MSI version. This is an MSI version. Unless they make a ITX, a mini ITX version of AMD, then yeah, then I'll have to do another one. But anyway, so the motherboard is here, and it looks absolutely stunning. It's a lovely motherboard. It looks exactly the same as all the other ones that I've already reviewed. And the good thing about it is that it can be worked with AMD, which is the AM4 platform. This is what this review is going to be about. But it's not going to be just a review. We're going to be sticking it and war calling it. But we're not going to go with hard tubing this time. We're going to go with like soft tubing. But it's going to still be custom loop and everything just for the CPU. So we've got a 1600X CPU that we're going to be water cooling. And then we're going to use Crucial DDR4. We're going to use 16 gigs or maybe 32 gigs. I'm not too sure. Because I'm planning on doing a bit of overclocking and find out what results we're going to get. We're going to be using a GTX 970 as a graphics card to start off with. I was going to use the GTX 1050 Ti, but I'm not going to bother. Got a 1080 Ti that's coming, so I'll probably put that in there. I don't know. I just want to see what the difference is, like having a processor that's in a mediocre range and then having a graphics card that's top of the range and a graphics card that's at the bottom range, or a mediocre or old school graphics card. See if there's any difference. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It looks really nice. Let me go through the specs real quick. So we've got 4 SATA connections, like 6 gigabit connections right there. We've got USB 3 port there. We've got a 24 pin here. We've got 2 fan PWM headers at the top there, which is really awesome that it's on the side. Because if you think about it, your computer, like the back end with the graphics card and stuff, and the back end you plug in, and you know what I mean, all that sort of stuff. But anyway, the fan headers are right here. That's pretty good. So you've got 1, 2 and 3 PW fan headers right there. You've got DDR4, armoured plating, and it looks really nice. Yeah, and then you've got like your VRMs and your choke right here, and then you've got your little platform to put your AMD cooler on there. But I don't know, actually, I don't know what these are there for, to be honest with you. I really don't, because every other, I had the RAF AMD cooler, and I still have to take these off anyway, so I don't know what these are for. You can use a different cooler and you have to take them off anyway. I don't know, I don't get it. But anyway, that's where the CPU goes. That's going to be quite cool. And then you've got some decent capacitors and chokes there. It looks really like awesome for overclocking. Well, we're going to be testing that out anyway. This is a B board, remember. So this is not like your average X370 board, which is meant to be the top of the range for AMD to overclock. But anyway, you've got your battery CMOS error. So if you've got an error, you can just take it out and sort it out. And also you've got a jumper there as well, so you can cancel the battery and kind of shock it and then get out of the system if you get a black screen. It's VR boost ready, yes. And then we've got your USB. Why have you got a USB connector right there? Oh, I really don't know. That's pretty stupid put there. M.2 shield there to keep it nice and cool. You've got a 16 times bus for your graphics card. So you can use Crossfire or you can use NVIDIA's one graphics card. And that's it. You've got a nice little RGB strip that goes down there which changes colour, and then you've got your audio boost there, and then you've got another graphics card slots there if you want to put anything there. And yeah, this one's got armor plated, this one hasn't, but I don't think it really matters because it doesn't really stop sag anyway, but who cares? Well, I do actually, because I want it to make it look straight. I might come and invent something, I don't know. But anyway, so what else we've got here? We've got another USB. So we've got 2 USBs there, so you can connect from the actual headers from the front of the case and connect it there. You've got USB 3 at the bottom, which you can route the cable underneath and then plug into the bottom, which will be quite nice and tidy. Looks like you've got another, I don't know what connector that one is. You've got your LED right here that you connect to the bottom, which you can route underneath the bottom. I didn't know what that is, but this is where you connect your actual computer, where you connect it with the LED light and obviously the front case and all that sort of stuff, your power and reset. That goes right here. That's in a different place. It should normally be here, or they normally put it around somewhere here, but they've moved it, so it's down there. But you can route that to the bottom as well, which is quite clean. Then you've got another USB PWM at the bottom there. And then we've got another, that's where you've got your audio connector right there. Some more capacitors, another jumper connected there, and you've got another 4 PWM. Right, so that's 1, 2, 3. Oh, you got one here as well, and then you got 8 pin, 8 EPS at the top. And so how many fan headers have you got? That's 6 fan headers on there. That's pretty cool. Anyway, there's nothing on the back there. You can just unscrew things there if you're gonna water cool the MOSFETs and stuff like that, and a chipset if you're gonna do that. And then on the back we have your normal connector for your keyboard and mouse, and that really hurt, that did. You got 2 USB 2s, you got DVI sub on the back, you got USB 3, which is generation 1, you got 4 of them, you got HDMI port, which goes up to 4096 resolution, so 4K basically, and then you got Ethernet port there, which is your gaming thing going on, you know what I'm talking about. And then you got generation 2, USB 3.1, Type C, your spiff out, and your optical out, and all your connectors for W Pro Logic. And that is it on the motherboard. It looks pretty good. It doesn't feel as cheap though. This motherboard's not even out yet, so when it comes out, I've been told it should be around 100 to 130 pound. But yeah, that's all I've been told about it. So we're going to test it first and let you know, so you can see if it's worth buying. But to be honest with you, X370 is an overclocking board. B350 is an overclocking board. I'm confused. So we're going to be overclocking like mad. Well, we're going to try and overclock like mad. We're going to try and reach 4.1, 4.2 with a silicone lottery, hopefully. But this is AMD Ryzen CPU. It's got 6 cores and 12 threads. So performance is definitely what we want to get. So we want to do some video editing and After Effects, animation stuff, and gaming as well. So we want to see what we can do with it. Then we're going to be pairing it up with Mayhems Havoc 240mm Radiator. It's thick as anything, so hopefully it will fit into the case. We've got an EK Res, and this is the X3 110, and it's nice and small. Hopefully, well, actually it should be alright, because it can be mounted horizontal, vertical, and onto a radiator, and also onto the back of the case, so that should be quite cool. We've got a 3/4/8 G41 compression fitting Lok Seal by Swiftech to use as well, and that's going to be connected up with this tubing, which is from Mayhem, and it's nice and flexible. As you can see, it's white, and it's not going to be any dyes that we're using, because we're going to be using this. We're going to be using Mayhem's H2O, like pure water. So we're going to be using that because that's the best on the scene. We're going to be also using DDR4 Crucial Ballistic Memory. This is the Elite version, and this is no lower than 266 megahertz. To be honest with you, I don't really know if it's what actual megahertz it is, but we'll find out when I connect it up. And I think there we're going to use either 1632 or 64. No, actually, probably use just 16 gigs. I think that'll be enough. And then we're going to use EVGA Overclocked 970 graphics card, as we're doing for a testing, and then we might use a 1050 Ti for bottom end graphic testing, and then a 1080 Ti for high performance testing. And we're using the B350 Gaming Pro Carbon, as you know. We're using the pure. Actually, before we go there, we're going to be talking about this first. This is a Swiftech pump, and this is the Acetal pump, and that's what it looks like. Using that, that's a big old pump, and we want to make sure that we're getting nice performance, and we can do this, we can do that. And then we're going to be using a Supremacy Evo AMD water block to go, well, yeah, Supremacy Evo, just making sure water block to go on and keep everything, well, the CPU cool, because we're only water cooling the CPU, we're not actually water cooling anything else. We're just going to keep it nice and simple with flexible tubing, no hard tubing this way around, but next video will be. And we're using a Toshiba SSD 1GB. What's the point? Shall I just give up my job now? 1 terabyte SSD, and we're going to be loading that up with games and stuff to show you that it looks real and all good. And then we're using Akasa's Vegas, and these are white colour LED fans. We're using 4 of these. These are 120mm, and we've done some tests of them. They come up really well. Oh, and also using Akasa's Rgb strips. These are 50cm versions, and these go for all colours, and you can connect to the motherboard and then connect them from the motherboard into an extender around the case. They're pretty cool. A power supply, and it's quite heavy. This is what version am I using? Dark Power Pro 11, and it's 850 watts of power. So we're going to be using that to cool everything, and then obviously if I can't get this power supply in the case that I'm going to be using, which is the Pure Base 600, which is down here, and hopefully this power supply will fit in there. If not, I'm going to have to use a smaller one, and hopefully that will work and get in there. But anyway, that's all the bits that are going in there, and then we're going to just get on with it and just do the build. You're going to see the benchmarks first, and then you're going to see the build afterwards. I'm doing it that way around, so hopefully that'll be a bit more entertaining. So let's get on with the build.
What a way to go. What we don't know isn't worth a dime, and we nail them all. I know you're the worrying kind. Is there any way, or do you like not being found? In time the light will fade. Don't you know I worry about you all the time?
So you know what I'm like. I try to overclock like mad, and look what happens now. It cuts off, then it comes back on, and then it will cut back off because it won't be on the screen. So I was overclocking the memory and everything like that. But anyway, I did manage to get an overclock, a stable overclock at 4.5, and I did carry on. Actually, I better, well, just wait a sec. Yeah, it went off. Right. So just to prove a point, I'm going to just turn it off now. And I'm going to show you how to fix this as well. Anyway, so I managed to get a decent overclock at 4.5 gigahertz, but I couldn't get it over to 4.1 or even 4.2. It just kept like coming up to the screen and then cutting off. And this is on water as well, and I had to change the fans at the top, so I put two black noise 120mm fans on there, and I had it blowing onto the VRMs to keep it cool, because that's why I couldn't even get a stable overclock at 4.5. Even at 4 gigahertz it was kind of like nice and quiet, but it wasn't very stable. And as soon as I put the black noise fans, instead of exhausting and dissipating heat, I had it take blue on the VRMs and everything like that. It kept the system cool inside, and it stayed stable for over an hour at 4.5. I didn't actually go any further, and I overclocked the memory a little bit like that, and yeah, got a stable overclock of the memory, done the timings. I had to change Crucial. The Crucial one was okay, this one, but it was only okay to do normal standard things, and the Crucial Elite that I had before that I was going to put in there, it didn't work at all. It just didn't work, and this only worked at 16 gigabytes, and I've got 32 gigabytes of this, and it didn't work. It only worked at 16 gigabytes, so I had to transfer to Corsair 16 gigabytes LPX, and that's 266 megahertz, and I overclocked that as well. So yeah, hopefully everything. Well, I'm going to show you quickly how to get this screen back. So first off, what I'm going to do is take the battery out and see if that works, and then put the battery back in after cycling the power. And if it doesn't, then I've got a jumper here which is next, well, you can't really see it, but it's next door to the battery, and you basically you plug that into the jumper next to the battery, and then that kind of cancels it out and does a clear CMOS, like a proper hard reset, and that's what will stop you from getting a black screen and the computer turning on and off. And that's hopefully if I haven't destroyed my memory or the CPU. So first off, I'm going to take the watch battery out and see if that does anything. Power it on, and that clearly hasn't worked. So what we're going to do now is turn it off, and this is the other thing we're going to do. Take out the power lead, leave it off so it cycles all the voltage away from the actual system. So wait 30 seconds. Then we're going to plug in the adapter, turn it on. Hopefully this will work. If not, then I'll just have to do the last phrase, which is that. Right, that has worked. Oh, right. So that's one way of getting back into it. Right, so it's dialed all my settings back. So 3.6 gigahertz, 21, 33 megahertz. So all my overclock is completely gone, but at least the computer's back. So what I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to give it a stability test and see if everything's okay. Right, now I'm going to check for a stability test, see if it's working okay and nothing's damaged. Everything seems fine, so that's cool. So let's make this kind of short and sweet. So basically, this motherboard is a B350 Gaming Pro by MSI. So it's not bad at overclocking. It surprised me because I have tried to overclock it and go crazy overclocks and stuff, and crazy over voltage and crazy like memory overclocks and stuff like that, and this motherboard's actually handled it. It actually did overclock the memory, and it definitely overclocked the CPU. I got 4.05 gigahertz, and I tried to go for 4.1, but it wouldn't have it, and it definitely didn't have 4.2. But other than that, I ran all the benchmarks like FutureMark, Cinebench, ran some gaming and synthetic bench testing, and it worked no problems. Stress tested it as well. I also built the system just so I could water cool that CPU, and I used Mayhems obviously pure H2O water in there, so I had the best sort of water cooling I could get. Just some normal wax tubing and stuff, and AMD CPU. No, not AMD CPU. EK water blocks the new CPU for the A4 platform for the Ryzen CPU, and then I've got Akasa's. I've got two Akasa 120mm. What fans are they actually? I can't remember what fans they are. They are the LED ones. They are Vegas. They are the Vegas fans. I remember now. And then one on the back to exhaust. And then I added two black noise 120mm fans at the top, but I reversed it and started blowing air onto the VRMs and the chokes, because when I went to go over that overclock over 4 gigahertz, it wouldn't do it. Even when I overvoltage it and stuff like that, it wouldn't work unless I had more optimal cool air blowing over the system. So as soon as that happened, ran through benchmarking like there was no tomorrow. It was really good and stable. And yeah, it started when I used the Ryzen 7 1800X, that went to a black screen and stuff, and then you have to jump it with this pin here that I've got in my hand, and that's next to the battery, so it's CMOS reset. And I just had to do that just now, but not with a black screen. It actually goes to a blue screen and everything like that, but when you overclock it way too much with the memory and everything like that, it just kind of doesn't go back into the BIOS. So I've got it back and then back to the normal settings, and I'm quite impressed. I'm impressed with the B350 motherboard. For 100 to 110 or 120, 130 pound, you can't really go wrong with a motherboard like that you can overclock and everything, and it's still used memory that's not actually for that system, and it worked. It actually worked. So it's got 16 gigabytes of Corsair LPX DDR4 in there, running at 266 megahertz. Overclocked it, worked really well. It's got a Dart Pro. This is a Dart Pro pure base 9600 case. Dart Power 850 watt power supply, nice and stable, really good for overclocking. Swiftech's pump as well. Yeah, I'll leave all the links in the description anyway, down below anyway. But yeah, it's pretty good. And obviously Mayhems 25 pound for this radiator, 240mm. I'm so shocked. But this system, yeah, it smashed it. It really did. I like to obviously overclock on a more stronger, stable motherboard, but I can't really say that this is not. This is a really, really decent motherboard for the price. I can't even believe that you can overclock on it like that. There was no offset voltage as well for the CPU to add it more voltage. It could just overclock as a normal X370 motherboard. I'm just shocked. Anyway, if you like this video, you know what to do. Give me likes. Give me loads of likes. Now, you just throw up a like if you like the video. If you dislike it, dislike it. Leave a comment down below. Ask me loads of questions about overclocking if you want to. And yeah, definitely recommend this motherboard when it comes out. 100% recommend it. I'm not even lying. I recommend that motherboard probably over an X370 at that price as well. If you're going to go for the Ryzen sort of 5 range and the Ryzen 3, go with the B so you can overclock. Yeah, definitely gives you a little bit of headroom. Not too much, but just enough to have a little bit of fun with it if you like overclocking. Anyway, subscribe. Follow me on social media and everything like that if you want to find out about other things I'm doing as well to do with overclocking and building computers, building systems and all that sort of stuff. Then yeah, find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and all that sort of stuff, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.